Yo, 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 what is up, YouTube? Shout out to everybody who is happy. I hope that's everybody that's watching our channel. Hey, check it out, man. Diddy breaks down after Cassie Ventura spills everything in court. I'm sorry, y'all, my bad. I've been drinking red horse. Where's my red horse, dear? Where's my red horse? No, joke.
Yeah.
I finished the Red Horse. Hey, Red Horse is the famous beer. Is it famous in Philippines?
Yeah.
Red Horse is Filipino favorite famous beer. I guess it's famous. Can't be too famous because the people in the Philippines don't drink it. No, I can't drink the Red Horse. It's too strong. Yeah. Anyway, check this out, man. Before we get started, I want to say shout out to my girl Cheryl of the World. Oh man. I was in marching band back in the day. Junior high school. Cheryl was cool as I don't know what. She was real cool. Cheryl, you are cool. So shout out to you, Cheryl. Shout out to you. Shout out to Darren and everybody who was on the marching band. Shout out to my man, oh man, I just said his name too, man, and Archie. Shout out to my main man, Archie, he was on the marching band too. And shout out to all your sisters and everything. So that's enough shout outs. Anyway, shout out to you. We should bring the shout outs back. Hey, Tahir, we should bring shout out to Tahir. That's my partner right there, man. Tahir, we're gonna turn this whole thing around. We're gonna turn it around starting today. You know, God got a way of showing you what you should and should not do, Puffy. You can act like you don't want to listen. You started listening when you made that apology. That was a good start. But now you're in court trying to deny your apology too. Get out of here, man. Look here. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. I hope I don't have food on my lip because I'm about to put some food in my mouth. Let's check it out, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Y'all know Uncle Mike crazy. Let's check it out. Here we go.
Video of Combs attacking her.
Combs' federal trial.
Oh, disclaimer.
Among other things, the singer is expected to address the 2016 video of Combs attacking her.
Combs' federal trial. Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, she is one of Combs' many accusers, testifying as a central witness.
Is she ready?
Very ready and confident. Thank you.
They used to call him a mogul, a kingmaker, the ultimate success story in hip-hop. But all of that shattered yesterday when Cassie Ventura hit the stand and lit up the courtroom with claims so explosive, even the most hardened reporters were left stunned.
She walked in there, Rachel. She had on a brown dress, form-fitting, visibly pregnant, head held high, and did not make any eye contact with the defendant, with Sean Combs. He said that Sean Combs directed everything from what she had on, to the lighting in the room, to how she was supposed to interact with the person that she was having sex with. And again, just to reiterate what is a freak off.
Diddy's smooth, powerful image cracked in real time as his ex laid out one disturbing allegation after another. The same man who once ran the music world like a boss, now sitting there, pale-faced and speechless, while Cassie told it all. And we mean all. No filters, no holding back. Diddy didn't just make it in music, he dominated it. Built Bad Boy Records from scratch, turned unknowns into megastars, and created a brand that stretched into fashion, vodka, and media. On paper, he was untouchable, the blueprint for turning hip-hop into serious money. But now, that polished powerhouse image is getting torn apart. The mastermind, the mentor, the mogul. Cassie's testimony is painting a way darker picture behind all the flash and success. If what's being said in court is even halfway true, it flips the whole story upside down.
The freak off essentially was something that Cassie said she learned about through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism, wanting to watch her have sex with someone else. And she said that she did it because she was 22, 21, she was young, she didn't know any better, and that she wanted to please Sean Combs.
While he was getting magazine covers and red carpet praise, Cassie says she was trapped in a totally different world. That courtroom felt the chill when she started talking. Imagine this. The man always dressed sharp, saying all the right things, always in control, suddenly exposed by someone who knew the real him. What she described? It didn't match the Diddy fans thought they knew. It was like hearing about a stranger. When Diddy walked into court for day 2, he looked every bit the billionaire boss, flanked by high-powered lawyers nodding at folks like he owned the room. Fresh suit, smooth stride, even flashing smiles. But the vibe? It changed fast. Witnesses say the moment Cassie started talking, his whole energy collapsed. That famous swagger? Gone. The calm mogul act? Falling apart. Within half an hour, he was cracking, visibly. She wasn't even done talking, and his legal team was already jumping up trying to block what she was saying, like they knew it was going to hit hard.
Among other things, the singer's expected to address the 2016 video of Combs attacking her in a hotel when she was his girlfriend. Combs has pleaded not guilty. His attorneys argue the video is evidence of jealousy, not sex trafficking. And now for the first time, jurors are hearing what Cassie has to say about that and other aspects of their 10-year relationship.
At some point in time, she actually had said that she looked forward to the freak-offs. Why did Cassie express looking forward to these said freak-offs?
When the prosecution asked her, was there ever a time that you enjoyed the freak-offs? This is when Cassie got choked up and she said, I did, but only because I got to spend one-on-one time with Combs and I really did love him.
And that is...
I was hoping she was going to say that. She started looking forward to relaxing. This ain't work. I'm gonna be out of my mind. Just like anybody, I'm assuming that she enjoys sex. Just like anybody. Any normal person should enjoy sex, am I right? Especially with somebody that you love. Think about that. So I'm glad she said that, because that's one of the first things I was going to say about this whole situation. She loved him. She had to love him. A woman's love is different than a man's love.
She looked forward to the freak-offs. Why did Cassie express looking forward to these said freak-offs?
When the prosecution asked her, was there ever a time that you enjoyed the freak-offs? This is when Cassie got choked up and she said, I did, but only because I got to spend one-on-one time with Combs and I really did love him.
And that is speaking to the psychological abuse.
Picture it. The same man who once controlled artists' media deals, now twitching in his seat, totally unable to stop what was coming out in court. People there said he couldn't keep still. The power dynamic had flipped hard. When Cassie finally sat in that witness chair, all eyes locked on Diddy. His face reportedly turned ghostly, like all the color just vanished. He started messing with his tie, then his cufflinks, then just sat there wringing his hands. One reporter said he even began scribbling furiously, passing frantic notes to his lawyers like he was drowning in the moment. The notes were flying so fast, one of Diddy's lawyers had to literally raise a hand just to slow him down.
In addition to the physical abuse that she potentially experienced.
Yeah, she's definitely laying out someone who was young, who was influenced by wanting to have this record career. She signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Entertainment led by Sean Combs, and basically describes being enamored by Sean Combs, loving him, not knowing about certain things sexually, and him sort of telling her, teaching her about that. And what you hear is someone that was young and she even said,
One courtroom reporter said it was like watching someone realize for the first time ever that they've completely lost control of their own story. Another person there said Diddy looked straight up sick as Cassie calmly kept speaking. And she wasn't yelling, she wasn't emotional, she was just telling it straight, which somehow made it all hit even harder.
I was young, I was naive, I didn't know any better, but she's really telling the story of someone who thought she was going to be with someone in this music industry that was going to help her career, that cared about her, but quickly learned after the freak-offs that wasn't the case. And what I thought was also interesting is she said that after that first freak-off, she said she felt dirty. she didn't want to do it. And when she brought up the idea of having a conversation about the freak-offs in an email, which the jurors saw, she said she backpedaled in the email because Combs responded by saying, "I know, you don't want to do it."
One witness even said they saw Diddy close his eyes multiple times, like he just couldn't handle looking at her or hearing the words coming out of her mouth. And get this, it was only the beginning. As the afternoon went on, the courtroom started to understand exactly why Diddy was unraveling. What Cassie was about to say next? It would hit the music world like a bombshell. This was the kind of allegation that could take down the empire he spent his entire career building. For a man used to producing and spinning every story to his favor, this was one narrative he couldn't edit, twist, or control.
I think they about to talk about him using the bathroom on her. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. That's what she said on the stand. That Diddy and another guy used the bathroom on her, in her mouth, and she choked, or she threw up, or almost threw up, or whatever. I ain't trying to put words in nobody's mouth. No pun intended. I ain't trying. Look, let me tell you something, man. Once you start saying somebody used a bathroom on me, you done, son. You finished. Especially when they got abusive video footage of you in the hallway hurting that little girl like you did. Shame on you. That's the only thing I can say is shame on you. And I had a nerve to look up to you. You younger than me. And that's where I went wrong at. Anyway. Let's find out what this is.
For a man used to producing and spinning every story to his favor, this was one narrative he couldn't edit, twist, or control. And it was playing out live.
And she said, "Oh no, well, it's not that." But that was the beginning. That was in 2010, where she brings up in an email that she wanted to have a conversation about this. And in her words, she didn't want to do it, but she felt like she had to do it.
Diane, prosecutors have wasted no time getting right into the alleged abuse that Cassie Ventura says she endured for years. Ventura telling jurors, quote, "He would bash my head, knock me over, drag me, kick me, stomp me in the head when I was down." She also got into the nature of those so-called freak-offs, saying that they involved hiring an escort and they performed under the direction of Combs, saying that they happen so frequently.
When Cassie finally took the stand, the silence in that courtroom was unreal. You could hear people breathe. Everyone knew this moment was coming, but no one, not even Diddy's high-priced legal team, was fully ready for what she was about to drop. After staying silent for years, after holding it all in, Cassie had finally reached the mic.
It eventually became a job for her to set them up. Ventura said she did not feel she had much of a choice but to participate, that she feared that Combs would retaliate or potentially blackmail her if she did not. And she's had at times to she's taken deep breaths, pausing her testimony, Combs appearing to be listening pretty passively with his hands in his lap at the defense table there.
Cassie's relationship with Diddy. Some of those details we've seen.
And when she started, she didn't come out swinging. She started small, and that made it hit even harder. She took the court back to the beginning, back to when she met Diddy at just 19 years old. He was already a major industry player, loaded, connected, and powerful. She was a young model hoping to break into music. The power gap was huge from day one, and Cassie says Diddy knew it. According to her, he used that imbalance to his advantage from the jump. Her story built like a slow-burn thriller. First came the little things, the so-called check-ins that didn't feel so innocent, allegedly demanding to know where she was 24/7. Then showing up randomly when she was out with friends. Then came the career control. She testified he'd threatened to shelve her music if she didn't do what he wanted. Claimed he messed up collabs with other artists if he felt even a little threatened.
In prior lawsuits, but to hear her on the stand actually giving those details, reliving those moments herself, Also, you have to remember, she's very pregnant right now. So I'm gonna be curious to see how long she makes it on the stand, how she's emotionally able to weather all of these questions. And what's gonna be interesting to watch is, you know, the defense from the very start in their opening statement said that she chose to be there. So I'm going to be curious to see how she responds to questions about.
Bit by bit, her freedom shrank. Then came the part that made jaws drop. Court transcripts show Cassie testified that Diddy had allegedly installed tracking software on her phone. She said he would call her within minutes of her arriving somewhere, already knowing exactly where she was. She claimed he slowly cut her off from anyone who might help her escape. Friends, collaborators, even longtime supporters. According to her, it got to a point where he was the only one left. The courtroom couldn't even hold the tension. The judge had to call for order 3 times during this section alone.
Was this her choice, or did she feel like she had to do all of these things?
I think what made Cassie emotional is having to describe the details of the freak-off and why she did it. When she talked about wanting to do it to please Sean Combs, that's when she broke down. Up until that point, she had just been answering the questions. She's a little soft-spoken at times, but that's...
Diddy? He was reportedly shaking his head, whispering furiously to his lawyers, making faces the jury could clearly see. Every time the judge gave a warning, he'd sit still for maybe 5 minutes, then start all over again. It was like watching a man who's always gotten his way suddenly realize, this time, he can't shut it down. And then came the moment, the one that flipped the room. Cassie pulled out her phone and handed it to her attorney. Boom! Text messages and emails hit the big screen for everyone to see. The look on Diddy's face? Complete shock. He clearly had no idea she had saved receipts from years ago. Messages where he allegedly apologized for violent outbursts. Others where he supposedly threatened to end her career if she spoke out. These weren't vague hints. These were direct hits that clashed hard with everything his team had told the public.
Woosah. It's almost like, why are you fighting when you know you did wrong? How much fight does a person have in them when they know they did wrong? That, I mean, can you, are y'all with me on that? Hey, if you didn't do wrong, then fight. But how much fight do you have in you when you know you did wrong? That's all I'm saying. Y'all know you did wrong. You know what, Mom? I did eat that last piece of pie. Only me, you, Dad, and bruh in here. Brother was out for the whole weekend. And y'all know y'all trust each other, and I'm the dummy who ate the pie trying to act like it ain't been ate. You know you did wrong. How much fight do you have in you when you know you did wrong? That's my question to y'all. Poor Puffy. Damn.
Complete shock. He clearly had no idea she had saved receipts from years ago. Messages where he allegedly apologized for violent outbursts. Others where he supposedly threatened to end her career if she spoke out. These weren't vague hints. These were direct hits that clashed hard with everything his team had told the public. But those messages? That was just the warm-up. As Cassie kept going, her testimony took an even darker turn.
When she got emotional, when she had to answer the question about if she enjoyed it, that's when she broke down, because she said, I enjoyed being with Sean Combs. And she says, I did it because it made him happy.
What did the expressions of the jurors look like?
The jurors are laser focused on what Cassie has to say. And that's to be expected, right? Because she is the person who will likely be on the stand, according to attorneys, for 2, maybe 3 days. She's the one that was in the relationship with Sean Combs for over 10 years. So she's got a lot to say, and she's just getting started.
Just how important is Cassie's testimony to the prosecution?
She started laying out claims of physical abuse that allegedly went on throughout their relationship, and the courtroom froze. You could hear a pin drop when she described being slammed against walls during fights. Then she hit them with a claim that stunned the room. She said Diddy once pushed her down a flight of stairs at a rental house in Miami, and it didn't stop there. Cassie testified that on several occasions, Diddy allegedly choked her until she almost blacked out, only stopping when her body went limp.
I think it really connects the dots, Rachel. When you look at that initial indictment and what's being alleged, she really is the person that has probably the most information about this idea that the prosecution says, which is creating a criminal enterprise for Sean Combs' sexual desires. Something else that the jurors saw today that sort of connects it back to this alleged criminal enterprise are 7 photos of people that were very close to Sean Combs, one even his former chief of staff. And these were all people
in the room were visibly shaken. One older woman on the jury had to wipe away tears. A male juror couldn't even look Diddy in the eye. Reporters, seasoned, seen-it-all types, said they weren't ready for how raw and graphic Cassie's words were. And this was just the lead up to the hotel incident that would blow the whole case wide open. I thought I was going to die that night, Cassie said. So softly, the courtroom had to lean in to catch every word. She was talking about something no one had ever heard before. Not the media, not the blogs, not even the hardcore fans. An incident at the Four Seasons Hotel that had stayed completely buried. Cassie said she kept quiet all those years out of fear. Fear for her safety, fear for her career, fear no one would believe her over someone with that much power. But now, she was done staying quiet.
That Cassie Ventura was able to name and explain the functions in terms of what they did: security, driver, chief of staff, someone that handled financials. So it's showing that she knew some of these people, again, because she was with him, around him for so long.
I think what the defense is going to say is that this wasn't blackmail, this was not coercion, this was consensual. We know that Cassie started out with Sean Combs as an early person, with someone who is trying to get her career started, and he was going to help her. That's what the defense is going to say, that she was starting out and wanted someone to support her. They did their first record deal together.
According to Cassie, it all started after what should have been just another industry after party. She says Diddy snapped after seeing her chatting with another music exec. His smile disappeared. She described how he grabbed her arm so hard it left visible marks, and how he whispered threats in her ear, all while keeping that polished smile for the crowd around them. Then came the part that had the courtroom holding its breath. Cassie said Diddy dragged her across the hotel lobby to the elevators. Dragged her. She testified that she was crying, trying to pull away, making such a scene that hotel security actually stepped in. But get this. When the guard recognized Diddy, all he did was ask, "Is everything okay?" And when Diddy said yes, the guard walked away. Didn't even check if she was all right. "He didn't even ask me if I was okay," Cassie told the court. And then, boom, her lawyers dropped the photos. Cassie had taken a series of pictures the next morning. Bruises on her arms, a busted lip, red marks on her neck. These weren't polished, posed photos. They were raw, shaky mirror shots taken in a bathroom. And that made them even more real. Cassie explained she took them because she knew one day she might need proof. She was scared no one would believe her unless they saw it with their own eyes.
That's something I think the defense is going to focus on, and had it not been for Sean Combs, she wouldn't be where she is right now. The prosecution obviously is saying he was in control. It may have started out as a consensual. It may have started out with her being excited about seeing him, but ultimately he took control of that relationship. He took control of her career. This is their key witness, and she's on that stand trying to explain all of the charges that the prosecution wants to hit home with that jury.
No, there was a moment early on when Cassie mentioned Dallas Austin, who she called a friend, who's a producer. So I don't know if that's someone that we're going to hear from. We know that there were pictures shown to prospective jurors that are well-known celebrities, Kanye West, Kid Cudi, Lauren London. We don't know, though, how they fit yet into why they were even asked, do you know these people? Are you familiar with them?
So the prosecution is
Diddy's legal team scrambled hard to keep those photos away from the jury. They claimed the pics weren't properly verified, that they could have come from any incident, that it was too late to show them. But the judge wasn't having it, denied every single objection, and just like that, those images were up on screen for the whole courtroom to see. The impact? Immediate. One female juror literally covered her mouth in shock. Two male jurors couldn't even look. They turned their heads away. And way in the back, another juror was seen writing furiously in her notebook, her hand visibly trembling. The room felt different after those photos. You could feel it. This hotel incident, it hit like a nuclear bomb, and nobody saw it coming. There was zero mention of it in any previous court filings or statements. Diddy's team had no game plan because they didn't even know it existed. The panic on his lawyers' faces was crystal clear to everyone in that room. And then Cassie dropped another jaw-dropping detail. She claimed Diddy threw a champagne bottle at her head. It missed her by just inches and smashed into the wall behind her. She told the court he went into a full-blown rage, trashed the room, shattered a lamp, flipped a table, and even punched a hole straight through the bathroom door. But the darkest part? She testified that he held her in that hotel room for over 48 hours, took her phone, and told her there'd be consequences if she tried to call anyone for help. When that part ended, the entire courtroom turned to Diddy. Everyone wanted to see his face, how he'd react, and what came next.
Questioning Cassie right now, still questioning her.
The defense hasn't even got a chance to, I mean, that might change based on the timing, but you know, because she's such a key witness, it's likely that she will be on that stand the rest of the day. We learned that Cassie referred to him as Pop Pop, and Sean Combs would refer to her as CC. The prosecution says, what does CC stand for? They said,
that moment might go down as the image that defines not just this trial, but the legacy of Sean Diddy Combs. Nobody there will ever forget it. Diddy, the mogul, the media king, the guy who built his whole brand on being cool under pressure, snapped. Right there in front of everyone. The smooth businessman mask he wore for decades, it crumbled. And what showed underneath? It wasn't polished. It wasn't calm. It was chaos. This is a man who spent years building a brand where nothing rattled him. Always the boss, always in control. But as Cassie kept going, one gut punch after another, his whole vibe changed. Court reporters who'd covered hundreds of high-profile trials said they'd never seen anything like this. Diddy physically changed in that courtroom, shrinking into his chair, no longer the confident giant who walked in that morning. His legal team looked like they were running damage control nonstop. Someone sitting right behind them said Diddy's lead attorney kept touching his arm, trying to keep him calm. At one point, one lawyer slid him a note that reportedly read, "Stay calm," in bold caps. But it didn't help. Things reached a boiling point when Cassie brought up something that allegedly happened at Diddy's Hampton house. Diddy slammed his hand on the table. Hard. The sound echoed across the courtroom like a gunshot. The judge immediately halted everything. "Mr. Combs," she warned, "if you can't control yourself, I will have you removed from this courtroom." And for a second, it looked like he might actually get thrown out of his own trial. Throughout Cassie's testimony, Diddy couldn't stop reacting, shaking his head, mouthing, "That's not true," every time she said something heavy. But he seemed to forget. There was a jury watching his every move. One courtroom insider put it like this: "It looked like a man who had never been called out before, suddenly realizing he had no control over the room." Think about that shift. Years of allegedly controlling every part of Cassie's life. And now she had the mic, and he couldn't mute her, couldn't call security, couldn't send out a press release. He just had to sit there and take it. But the true breaking point? That came when Cassie started talking about threats. She claimed Diddy had warned her that if she ever spoke about what happened, he'd come for her family.
She said Cassie Combs.
What What kind of witness is Cassie coming off as to the jurors?
I think naturally when you look at her visually, people see that she's pregnant and looking like she's due any day now. So they might, have empathy, sympathy for her in that way, but we don't really know. We know that they've been instructed to be fair and impartial. As to what type of witness she's coming off as, she's describing someone that she was, someone she said that.
And then, boom, she dropped another bomb. Cassie's lawyer said they had recordings, real audio, Diddy's voice, making those alleged threats. And when that tape played, Diddy lost it completely. He jumped up out of his chair, pointing straight at Cassie, shouting, "You know that's not how it happened!" His lawyers had to physically grab him and pull him back down into his seat. The courtroom was stunned. It wasn't just a meltdown, it was a full public unraveling. It took 3 of Diddy's lawyers to hold him back as he kept trying to yell over the audio playing in court. The judge had no choice. She called for a recess on the spot. But the damage? Already done. Everybody saw it. The jury, the press, the court staff. Every single person witnessed the meltdown. The man known for being untouchable just showed the world how touchable he really was. As they escorted Diddy out of that courtroom, he didn't look anything like the polished mogul who strutted in that morning. That cool, confident mask? Gone. And what was underneath wasn't the powerhouse everyone thought he was. It was someone completely unglued. But just when everyone thought the shocks were over, Cassie dropped another bomb. This one hit harder than anything before. She had evidence, and not just the photos or texts everyone already knew about. This was next-level stuff, the kind nobody had seen coming, not the judge, not the jury, especially not Diddy. For years, Cassie had been collecting receipts, carefully, secretly, storing everything away, emails, texts, photos, all backed up in multiple places Diddy couldn't reach. Then she revealed something that froze the entire courtroom. She had messages from celebrities, big names, who had allegedly witnessed Diddy's behavior firsthand. And we're not talking about random bystanders. These were people from Diddy's inner circle, friends, longtime collaborators, people who'd partied with him, toured with him, built empires with him. They saw things the public never did. When Cassie named these sources, Diddy's face reportedly went ghost white. Someone in the gallery described him as looking like he was about to throw up. His lawyers? They were up instantly, objecting loud, demanding a sidebar with the judge. They said the celebrity texts were hearsay, claimed they weren't submitted properly, tried every trick in the book to block them. But the judge wasn't buying it. After reviewing the messages privately, she came back and shut them down, every objection overruled. She called the messages highly relevant and cleared them to be entered into evidence. That ruling?
That was trying to figure out who she was at that time and who she was allowed to be. Now you're looking at somebody that's almost 40 years old, totally different person, but even in describing what was going on at her at that time, taking drugs, trying to please Sean Combs, she's really just sort of laying out the case for her not having a lot of control.
It hit Diddy like a punch. He dropped his head into his hands. He knew what was coming. One by one, those celebrity messages hit the courtroom screens. A major rapper texted Cassie after a Grammy after-party. "You okay? What I saw tonight wasn't right. You can stay at my place if you need to." A female pop star messaged, "I've known him 15 years. I've never seen him act like that with anyone else. This isn't normal. Please call me." But the most damning, a longtime producer who had worked closely with Diddy for decades sent Cassie a chilling message after something he witnessed in the studio. "I can't be around this anymore. I told him to get help. Call me when you're safe." These texts destroyed the public image Diddy had tried to protect. His narrative that no one ever saw anything, that it was all just drama and exaggeration, fell apart. These weren't just bystanders. These were people who knew him and they were concerned. And then it got even worse, because his own messages came next. Screenshots showed Diddy texting Cassie things like, "I'm sorry about last night. You know how I get when I drink. It won't happen again." Another message said, Whatever you need to make this right. Just name it, new car, new apartment, whatever you want. And then came the ones that sounded like hush money. My lawyer can draw up the paperwork tomorrow. $2 million clean break. You don't talk about anything from the past 5 years.
So I think that's the takeaway. This is someone who is making it very clear.
These are text messages. These are text messages that Diddy sent Cassie. Because this is how the human brain works. You know, or let me just buy her some gifts, make up for it. I got friends of mine who wanted to borrow money from me to buy their wife something expensive. I ain't even gonna say what it was, stupid. Because you got caught cheating on your wife. It's Christmas time now. Now you want to buy something expensive, but you don't even have the money, so you want to borrow the money from me. Think about that. I'll call you back. Because in the heat of the moment, you just trying to change stuff. Then your last strike is, man, I had my lawyer drew up some papers, give you $2 million, you're gonna just walk away. Just don't tarnish my name. Don't leave. You can leave, but don't tarnish my name. That's a shame that you even think that will work.
Just name it, new car, new apartment, whatever you want.
New car, new apartment.
And then came the ones that sounded like hush money. My lawyer can draw up the paperwork tomorrow. $2 million clean break. You don't talk about anything from the past 5 years.
So I think that's the takeaway. This is someone who is making it very clear that at that particular time in her life, she says she did not have any control really over what she wore, what she did, who she was having sex with. She's a different person now. But I think when she talks about those details and even reflecting on them for herself, as we saw today, she broke down on that court.
As those messages were read out loud in court, the silence was deafening. Everyone was locked in. No one was moving. And Diddy? He looked like a man watching everything he built crash down around him. Something wild happened in the gallery. People who came in with Diddy that morning, his entourage, the ones sitting behind him showing full support, started dipping out. Quietly, one by one. They didn't say a word, didn't make a scene. They just slid out, unable to sit through another minute as the evidence piled up. By the time Cassie finished that part of her testimony, Diddy was nearly alone at his table. Just him and his legal team. No backup, no show of strength. That wall of support he flexed earlier in the day, gone. Everything had changed. The surprise evidence, the texts, the photos, the recordings. It flipped the whole courtroom upside down. The man who walked in like royalty, like hip-hop's untouchable king, left that courthouse looking wrecked. Even the tight circle of security around him couldn't shield him from what just went down in that room. And let's be real, this wasn't just Cassie telling her side of the story. This felt like a full-on rewriting of Diddy's entire legacy. The receipts she brought forward, the calm, chilling delivery, the people who reached out trying to help her, it painted a picture that's not going away anytime soon. At this point, the question isn't, will Diddy win the case? It's, can his reputation survive what the world just heard? If this shook you like it shook us, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more explosive updates. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Is this the end of Diddy's empire? And of course, share this with someone who's got to hear the full story. We'll catch you on the next one.
Ha 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 ha. Getting the tea, baby. We getting the tea. We getting the red tea. This ain't no brown tea. This ain't no green tea. Y'all can go ahead and have that healthy green tea. We getting the red tea with all the blood at. Dude. Oh my God, man. With all this stuff going down and all the... Dude, how can you live with yourself? How can you live with yourself with not including Cassie and the 5 other people? I can name them, baby. 120 people pointing the finger at you. saying that you did wrong, but you still fight. 120 people, not including Cassie, not including the tape of the hotel, not even including can't find Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres that went out the country. None of that. All that. And you sitting here still fighting. God dang, you must be the duck. You must be the duck, man. I'm trying to do beyond a reasonable doubt. You can't know as much as I know, or not as much as been leaked out on YouTube to say this man gonna walk. If he walks, if he beats these charges in any kind of way, real talk, and people, it might start a riot. There's nowhere in the world that people gonna allow this to happen. I'm just saying. Shout out to Stephanie, y'all. I'm just saying. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. I'm tired. I'm sleepy. I think I finally got how we gonna do this thing. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so.